If you want to learn how to crochet amigurumi but you are an absolute beginner, then this is the right video for you. If you're new here in the channel, I am Bianca from Crocheting. I'm an amigurumi book author, specialized in methodology of teaching, and a master in teaching and media education. And I've been crocheting this cute amigurumis here, there's been almost 9 years. And in the second video of the Amigurumi Academy, I'll teach you how to crochet your first amigurumi ball from scratch. Don't worry, because this will be a very slow tutorial, step by step, and I'll guide you through all the necessary stitches so you can learn how to crochet an amigurumi. I will teach you how to crochet your first amigurumi ball, which will also be a head for your first amigurumi. I know how boring it can be to learn all the stitches separately, like single crochet, increase, slip stitch. Well, you might not even know what those things are, but don't worry, because you'll learn everything in this video. And while I crochet the amigurumi ball with you and teach you all the stitches, I will put here in the video, I think it will be here, the abbreviation and the name of the stitch, so you can also get familiar with the nomenclature and it will be way easier for you. And I really believe this is the best way to learn, because if you learn like all the stitches separately, you don't even know what to do with them, and we get lost and we get bored in the process. I don't want you to get bored. I want you to enjoy this journey, because this is addictive and amazing, and I am 100% sure that you will love it. You'll love the journey. And I have a few recommendations before we go to the tutorial itself. Recommendation number 1, crochet with me. Don't watch the video and try to understand what I'm doing without crocheting it with me. Sometimes we look at a video, a tutorial, and it looks so complicated, so difficult, but the moment you start trying to do it, it gets way easier, and we see that it was not that difficult in the end. If you do not know the materials that you need to crochet your first amigurumi ball here with me right now, pause this video and check this one here, because I talk about all the materials that you need to start crocheting amigurumis. Pause the video, take everything you need and crochet with me. You can pause this video, you can change the speed, but enjoy the process. And believe me, if you crochet with me and you give it a try, you will learn. Recommendation number 2, don't worry about being perfect. Our goal is not to reach perfection. Our goal is to practice the movements, learn the stitches, and be able to crochet our first amigurumi ball together. Just so you know, this was my first amigurumi ball that I crocheted in 2015. Yeah, there's been quite a while. I still have this crochet ball with me, not here right now, but I still have it, and it was not beautiful. Maybe in the picture it looks beautiful, but it was not. It was not a ball, it looked like an onion. The shape was very ugly, the stitches, they were not even, but that's okay, because I improved, I practiced, I learned, and this is what matters right now. We just want to learn and enjoy the process, really. So grab your material, stay here with me, let's crochet together. I'm here with you, it will work. Let's do it together. Okay, so here I have the materials that we need to start crocheting our first amigurumi ball. And I chose the pink color because the ball that we are going to create is also going to be the head of our first amigurumi, which is a pig. It will be a very, very cute amigurumi pig. So if you also want to continue this project with me in the future, I strongly recommend you pick up a pink color to create this cute amigurumi. But if you just want to practice the ball, the crochet ball, it's totally fine to use other colors that you have with you. Okay, so let's get it started. I can leave the link for this yarn in the description in case you want to check it later. But this is 100% cotton, which I told you in the first series of this Amigurumi Academy class that is my favorite type of yarn. I usually pull the yarn from the center, okay? I like to do this in order to keep the label so we don't forget the brand and also the color. In this case, the color is 51. So Whenever we pull the thread from the inside, we keep the label and it's easier for us in the future. I'm a right-handed person, so it means that I wrap the yarn in my left hand and hold the crochet hook with my right hand, okay? We start our amigurumi ball with something called magic ring or magic circle, okay? I usually call it magic ring, but magic circle is the same. So leave the crochet hook aside, take the yarn with you, and with these two fingers, like this, you pass the yarn making an X shape in your fingers, okay? I will do it again. There is a tutorial here in the channel where I teach different techniques to do it, but in this video, I will only teach you one way because otherwise this video will be too big. So the way that I do, I put my hands like this, okay, and pass the yarn making an X shape with these two fingers, okay? So I have an X in this side and the thread is parallel at this side here, okay? X shape, yarn is parallel. This part, the magic ring, I usually say that this is the most complicated part of all. After this, all the other stitches that we need to crochet our ball will be way easier. Believe me. Don't give up, believe me. So X, parallel. This finger I put here in order to secure the yarn so it doesn't escape. It creates some kind of, pressure here with this finger. I have the X, I have the yarns parallel with the crochet hook placed like this, and always put the hook down. Don't work like this, always like this, okay? Pass the crochet hook below the first thread, and with the hook down, you grab the second one. Twist the yarn and grab this thread like this, pass in the loop. You can simply leave it aside because you will see that you created a circle. This is the foundation of our magic circle, okay? See how it is? I will do it once again with you. And as I said, this is the most complicated part. After this, the ball becomes way easier. So an X shape, yarns are parallel, hold the yarn like this so it doesn't escape. With the hook down, I pass it below the first thread, pull the second one, and when it's here, I twist. When you twist the yarn, you grab it, you grab the second thread and pass it inside the loop, like this. And then you have your circle created, okay? So again, make an X in this side, the yarns are parallel in this side. With this finger, you press it so the yarn doesn't escape. Crochet hook down, pass below the first one, grab the second one, bring it here and twist. When you twist, you see that we create a sort of a loop here. So you grab the second yarn and pass it inside. Let me do it again because the yarn was splitting a little bit. You pass the yarn inside the loop. And it's safe now. We have our magic circle, okay? Now we are going to make single crochets, which is the most important stitch when it comes to amigurumi, okay? So there are different ways to hold the yarn, to wrap the yarn in your hands. The way that I do is I pass the yarn like this in my fingers, and I like to pass it twice in this one. I don't like to wrap like too many times in this finger, otherwise I block my circulation. You can see my finger starts to get purple. We don't want to block the circulation, but we don't want it to be too loose Otherwise, you don't have enough tension to continue crocheting. So we have to find a balance between being loose and tight. And it can be hard in the beginning, I know. So that's why I usually pass it twice. You have to keep this thread here straight. It cannot be loose, cannot be too loose, otherwise it will be very difficult for you to keep the tension. In the beginning, don't worry about having perfect stitches. We just want to learn how to crochet the ball, and this is the most important thing. So you see that when I wrap the yarn twice like this in my fingers, the yarn here is straightened, but in the same time it moves freely in my hand. The finger is not like, I don't have the yarn blocking the circulation in this finger, and I can easily move the yarn like this while I crochet. Okay? You can practice a couple of times, pause this video and try to wrap the yarn in your hands in a way that it's comfortable for you. And this is something so particular from person to person, okay? But with the magic circle in your hands, you see that we have the magic circle like this. I like to hold the magic circle with these two fingers here, so it's not too loose, and pass the crochet hook inside the circle. Wrap this yarn. You see that the hook is down, not like this, otherwise it's too hard for you to pull the thread. Hook down. I bring this yarn inside the magic circle. You see? I have 2 loops in my crochet hook, and what do I do now? Wrap the yarn again, like this, and pass this yarn through both loops. And this is our first single crochet. I will do it again, okay? The pattern that we are going to do here, we will do 6 single crochets inside the magic ring, okay? We are still not going to use the stitch markers because we have to do 6 single crochets inside the magic ring. So let's do it again. Insert the crochet hook inside the magic circle, pull the thread, and pass it inside the magic circle again. 2 loops in the crochet hook, second single crochet, sorry. Again, pass the crochet hook inside the magic circle or magic ring, grab the yarn, pass it inside the magic circle. 2 loops in the crochet hook. You see that the hook is always down. I pass it inside again. We did it 3 times already. We'll do it more times. 3 more times actually. Inside the magic circle, pull the yarn, 2 loops in the crochet hook. And this is the mantra that you have to follow along this project, okay? Don't worry, because I'm still going to teach you how to see what is a stitch. Because when I started crocheting amigurumi, I didn't even know how to recognize the single crochets. Inside the loop, grab the yarn, 2 loops in the crochet hook, wrap it once again and pass it through both loops. You see that we create something that is very similar to a V shape. We have a V shape, one V, another V. Each one of these V shapes is a single crochet. So we have here is a knot. It's not a stitch, it's the knot that we tied when we started the magic ring. So we have 1 V, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I did one more while I was teaching you. So in case you want to go back, you just pull the yarn that is coming off the skein. You just pull it and it's done. So let's count it again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I usually like to pull this a little bit more so I won't escape. You see that if I pull this yarn, I lose the stitch that I did. So in order to keep it and it doesn't escape, I like to leave it a little bit longer. Leave your crochet hook aside. So we need to close this magic ring, right? And what do we do now? You see that we have the magic ring here, the magic circle, and we have all the stitches here, but we need to close it. So I make this movement like tweezers with my right hand and press it like this. In the last stitch that I have, press it. And this tip of thread here that we have, I pull it in order to close. You don't have to worry in this part, just pull this yarn, nothing will happen besides closing the magic ring. And it's a circle, you see? And let's count it together. I always like to count with my crochet hook. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets in this magic ring. And this is our round number 1 of the crochet ball. So now for round number 2, we need to start increasing. So what do I mean by increase? And I have a ball here to give you the example. So we did the magic ring. The crochet piece doesn't go up straight like this. It needs the curve in order to make a ball. So in order to make this curve, we have to start increasing. And increases are very simple. Let me leave this ball aside. Increases are 2 single crochets together. So now we will make the first stitch of round number 2. And this is the moment where we will start to use the stitch markers, okay? So we recognized the V shapes, okay? We learned how to do it. And now every time we crochet a new stitch, we insert the crochet hook like this, below the V shape. You see that if I look at the stitch like this, we see the 2 loops, we see the V shape. If you insert the crochet hook below every stitch, you will have these 2 loops. And this is how we are going to work from now on, always inserting the crochet hook here below this V. So I insert the crochet hook here below the V shape, pull the yarn and pass it below the V. When I do this, you see that I have 2 loops in my crochet hook. You wrap the yarn again and pass it through both loops. And this is a stitch, the first stitch of round number 2. I took the smallest stitch marker that I had here, and I strongly recommend you put stitch markers in the first stitch of every round that you work. Because since we are working in continuous rounds, we don't know which one was the first or the last one that we did. And if we lose count, probably you won't know, what you should do next. And your crochet piece, in our case is a ball, it won't be that round, it won't be even, it may cause some weird shapes, and this is not something that we want, okay? I did the first stitch, but we have to increase right now. And I said that increases are 2 single crochets together. So I did the first single crochet. Now I will insert the crochet hook in the same V shape again to do another stitch. And now we have 2 single crochets, 2 stitches coming out of the same stitch. I will do it again with you, don't worry. You see this stitch here? one V shape, we have to do 2 single crochets here in the same hole, in the same gap. So I will insert the crochet hook, grab the yarn, pass it through the stitch, 1 single crochet, and now in the same place, okay, in the same stitch, I will do another single crochet. Let's do it again. Pass the yarn, wrap it, bring it to the front part of the crochet piece, wrap it again, and pass the yarn through both loops. Which one should we do next? Not this one, this is the next stitch. We need an increase, so we need to insert the crochet hook here in this one, okay? And you keep doing this increases until you reach the stitch marker here again. So 1 single crochet, another one in the same place, and I have an increase. 1 single crochet, another one in the same place, second increase. Okay, so now I cannot continue working because I worked in the last stitch of the round. The next one is marked with the stitch marker, so it means that we completed our round number 2. So in round 1 we had 6 single crochets, and if we did 2 single crochets on top of the same single crochet from round 1, now we have 12. Don't know if it was confusing, but let's count it together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 single crochets in round number 2. You see that there is a tiny hole here in the middle. It might happen. Don't worry about it. What you have to do, remember this thread that we pulled in order to close the magic ring? You just pull it a little bit harder again, and you closed the magic ring. Very simple, right? So now let's go to round number 3. I remove the stitch marker, and round number 3, insert the crochet hook in the first stitch, you make your single crochet, and what do? Mark the stitch. This is a mantra that you have to follow throughout the crochet project so you won't get lost, okay? And it's a chaos in the beginning because we don't know how to find ourselves again. So always mark the first stitch. Remove the stitch marker to crochet the first stitch of the round and put it back, okay? That's what I did here. The sequence that we have to do now, it's 1 single crochet, 1 increase. So I did the first single crochet here, and in the second one we do increase. And we know what an increase is, right? We do 2 single crochets together. And we will repeat the sequence until we reach the stitch marker again. So you see that in the first round we have, with the magic ring, we had 6 single crochets. In the second, we did 6 increases and we have 12 single crochets. Now we will do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and we will end up with 18. So you see that all numbers are a multiple of 6. I usually make this joke that this is the only mathematics that people like because, yeah, guys, we did 6, 12, 18. Now in round number 3, we will do 18, and we will continue working like 18, 24, 30, 36 to have this perfect curve here in order to create our crochet ball. This is mathematics, simple and basic mathematics that really work with crochet, okay? So let's keep doing it together. 6, 12, now we want 18. we did 1 single crochet, 1 increase. So what should we do next? We should do 1 single crochet. And next, increase. This is the sequence, okay? 1 single crochet, 1 increase. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. My biggest advice for you as you start to see the start of your crochet ball, you start to see it getting shape, don't worry about being perfect right now. I know I said it a couple of times in this video, but it's really important and I'll keep repeating. People get too concerned about having the stitches perfect at their first attempt. They don't want gaps between stitches, and I know I don't like them either. But our main goal here in this video is to learn how to crochet our first amigurumi ball. And it won't be perfect at the first time, okay? Just keep doing it, because you will see that you will improve a lot from your first to your second to your third ball. You see how much you improve. Your progress will be amazing. I know that, okay? So another advice that I have, because you see that I finished round number 3, is in the beginning, count the stitches at the end of the round, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 stitches. It's important to learn how to count the stitches in the beginning. And this is one of the main reasons why I recommend using cotton yarn, because it's easier to see. We can perfectly see the stitches. It's way easier. And you see that I'm always showing you the stitch from the top like this V, but we can also see the stitch here. When we look at the crochet piece like this, we can see like a V shape, and each one of these V shapes is a stitch. This is a V shape. Hope you can see that. And here, since we did an increase, you see 2 V shapes. There is one here and another one right next to it. And that's why it's a little bit different, the format. We have 2 stitches together. Okay, so for now, we learned how to do the magic ring, the single crochet, and the increase. And we also learned how to see the stitch from the top, to recognize the stitch from the top, and also when we look at the crochet piece like this. Another important thing for us to learn how to count is the number of rounds. And at least this part for me, it's a bit easier than the stitch to recognize. This is the first magic ring that we did, so it's round number 1, round number 2, and round number 3. You see that there is a perfect line here. There is a perfect line here separating every round. So we did 1, 2, and 3, okay? So now we will go to round number 4. And what should we do? Remove the stitch marker, make the first stitch. Let's do it together. Insert, and below the following V, pull the thread, pull the yarn, 2 loops in the crochet hook, pass the yarn through both loops, and this is the first stitch of round number 4. Mark with the stitch marker. And now what's the sequence for this round? In this round, we have to do 2 single crochets and 1 increase. 2 single crochets, 1 increase. And we will repeat, of course, we always repeat the sequence that I'm saying until we reach the stitch marker here in the end of the round, okay? So I did the first one here that is already marked with the stitch marker. Let's do the second one together. Okay, so I have 1, 2, and now an increase. Oops, that means that we will do 2 single crochets together. One, two, and increase. I'm teaching you the easiest way how to do this amigurumi ball, okay? And for me, this is the easiest way to do the single crochet. There are other techniques that probably you can start practicing after your 3rd or 4th amigurumi, and there are other techniques to have the ball even more even. I don't know if I can use that word like this, but to have the bow even more perfect. Let's use this word. But for now, I think this is too much information. There are so many things to master. There are so many different techniques that I strongly believe that knowing how to do it, like this basic stuff, it's more than enough to start crocheting your first amigurumi. So that's why I'm teaching you the techniques that I am teaching, the way that I'm doing, because really this is the easiest way for you to go. If I start teaching you different ways to do the single crochet right now, or different ways to, I don't know, reach a perfect circle, this is too much for a beginner. And yeah, I don't want to discourage you to continue with amigurumi. So this is the easiest way, and it's more than enough to crochet your first easy amigurumi pattern, okay? So let's continue. We did 1, 2, increase. That's what we will do again. 1, 2, and increase. We have to repeat the sequence until the end of the round. 1, 2, increase. I hope it's getting easier for you as you move on from round to round. But before we continue, there is another thing that I want to teach you. Let's suppose you finish this round and you count the stitches and you don't have 24 single crochets as you're supposed to have. Don't be nervous, but there is a way to fix it. Go back, and this is how you go back. You just pull the yarn. You see that I'm removing all the stitches, but when you do it, be careful not to lose the first one. You can go back in this first stitch, but when you do it, you lose the stitch marker. So don't pull the yarn like really mad and oh my god, this is not right, I have to do it all again. Because if you do it, and I'm saying it because I did it myself, you might get lost, okay? So let me just do the first stitch of the round again, put the stitch marker patiently. Patience is something really important when we start to learn crochet, but not only crochet, any kind of new skill that you want to have, a new hobby, we must be patient in order to learn. So again, the sequence was 2 single crochets and 1 increase. That's what I will keep doing, okay? And now it's basically repetition. You can see that because I'm doing 2 single crochets, 1 increase, 2 single crochets, 1 increase. This sequence is repeated 6 times until we reach the stitch marker, and I will keep doing it, and I will come back when I finish the round so we can move on to the next round. So I finished here our round number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that we have 4 rounds. Let's count it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we have 24 single crochets in this round, as we are supposed to have. Again, if you don't have your 24 stitches, your 24 single crochets, remember how to go back patiently so you don't lose the stitch marker, you don't lose the beginning of the round, and try to observe and count the stitches patiently to learn where was the mistake that you did. This is completely normal. In the beginning, I remember that I couldn't reach the correct amount of stitches in each round. I was always committing some sort of mistake, and it's completely normal, okay? So next round, remove the stitch marker. You see that the sequence is always the same. We remove the stitch marker, make the first stitch, the first single crochet, mark this stitch again with the stitch marker, so we can continue with the sequence. So now in round number 4 we have 24. So in the next round we want 30 stitches. Remember that they are all multiple by 6. So what we have to do is 1, 2, 3 single crochets and 1 increase. We do it again. 1, 2, 3 single crochets and 1 increase. You will learn how to observe that the increases here are always on top of each other. There is another technique which I told you already. I won't teach you right now because this is too much for a first class, but you see that we had an increase here on round number 4. The increase is on top of it in the following round, okay? That's the sequence that you have to do until you reach the stitch marker. 3 single crochets, 1 increase, 3 single crochets, 1 increase. And I will keep doing it. You can pause the video and I will come back when I finish this round. So I finished our round number 5. Let's check it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. And we have 30 single crochets here. Count the stitches. It's getting too big now and I don't want to keep counting here on the video, otherwise it will be too long. But really guys, pause the video and count every stitch, okay? So you make sure that you have the correct amount of stitches for the round. You see that we start to create the ball like this. We start to create the curve. Let me place it like this because it's beautiful. Okay, so in the next round, again, the mantra, make 1 single crochet and mark with the stitch marker to keep track of your rounds. This is always the first stitch of the round. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. Now in round number 6, we will do 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets and 1 increase. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets and the increase here. That's what you have to do until the end of the round, until you reach the stitch marker. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 and increase. You can pause the video and I'll keep doing it. And I'll come back when I finish this round, okay? So I finished the round. You see that we did 4 single crochets and 1 increase. We repeated the sequence for 6 times and we end up with 36 single crochets. Look how cute it's getting. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. We will continue increasing a little bit more, okay? Remember to count the stitches after you finish every round. This is important in the beginning, guys. Honestly, I mean, I crochet amigurumis for 9 years already. So nowadays, when I'm crocheting something a bit more simple, like a crochet ball, I don't count the stitches every round. But in the beginning, it was important for me. So this way I could learn. You can, I mean, leave this yarn here inside or cut it. It doesn't matter that much, okay? Just so you know. So let's move on to our round number 7. Remove the stitch marker. Make the first single crochet. Mark it again. And now we will make 5 single crochets and 1 increase. So we already did the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets and 1 increase. And again, this is the sequence that we are going to follow until the end of the round, okay? And we will end up with 42 single crochets. So we had 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and now we will have 42 single crochets, okay? So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. Again, keep doing the sequence until you reach the stitch marker, and we'll come back to continue our crochet ball. By this point of the video, I am 100% sure you're really proud of yourself, and you should be, because look how cute it's getting. We can see the perfect shape of the ball here. It's amazing. I love it so much. I think you can see how much I love this thing. But okay, we finished the round. We did 5 single crochets and 1 increase 6 times, and we have 42 single crochets in this round. We will do the last round with increases next. This will be the last one. And following the basic mathematics here, if we did 5 single crochets and 1 increase, in the next round we should do 6 single crochets and 1 increase, right? So I marked the first stitch here, the first stitch of the round, and I make 2. You see the first one, the second, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now an increase. We will end up this round with 48 single crochets, the basic mathematics. So we just keep doing the sequence, okay? 6 single crochets, 1 increase, 6 increase, 6 increase, blah, 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 6 increase, until you reach the stitch marker. And when you get here, you'll have 48 single crochets, okay? So I will keep crocheting this round, 6 single crochets and 1 increase, and I will come back when I reach the last stitch here and meet the stitch marker. So we keep going to the next part of our crochet ball, okay? I was talking to you and I have to count again. So I had the increase here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 1 more, 6, and increase. I'll keep doing it and I will come back when I finish the round. Okay, so I finished the round, and let me leave the crochet hook aside to explain it, to explain you what we have to do next. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds, okay? We have 8 rounds here, you see the curve. We start to create the curve of the ball. Perfect, right? And we have 48 single crochets around this circle here. So you observe this ball here. I have this example in which we have the magic ring and the ball starts to increase. After a while, let me put this one beside this. So you see that the first part of the ball is what we just did. We started the magic ring and we increased. So now what we have to do is continue going up with the ball without making increases, without changing any pattern. We just make single crochets for a while. And then in order to close the ball, we need to decrease. If we increased here, we need to decrease here, okay? This will be the third and last part of our crochet ball. So now we will just make single crochets for quite a long time because if we did 8 rounds increasing, we will make 8 rounds going up. So remove the stitch marker, make the first single crochet, mark this first stitch, and what do you have to do in this round? You just make single crochet, one single crochet on top of the other. Let me put it closer to you. Insert the crochet hook, you see, one on top of the other. You finish the round with the same amount of stitches that you had before, which is 48, okay? I will continue crocheting this round and I will come back when I finish it. You can pause the video now and I'll come back. So I finished the round number 9. I just did single crochets without increases, without changing anything, just single crochets in this round 9, and we end up with 48 single crochets, okay? So guys, as I said, we increased until the 8th round. In round number 9, we just did single crochets. So now, from round 9 to round 16, we just have to repeat the sequence, making single crochets. And each of these rounds will have 48 single crochets, okay? So we go up with this crochet piece, okay? This part of the ball that we are doing. So I will keep crocheting. I think I will crochet half of it and come back just to show you how it is. And you can pause this video and continue crocheting your rounds until round 16, okay? So I crocheted 4 rounds. I still have 4 more to continue, but I came here as I promised to show you how it's getting, how the ball is turning out. You see that we have increases and now it's starting to grow a little bit more with the straight part here. Okay, so for now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So as I said, I have 4 more rounds to continue with the single crochets and 48 stitches in every round before I come here and teach you how to make the decreases so we can close the ball. Okay, so let's keep doing it. Okay, so I just finished crocheting the 16 rounds. We can count it together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we have 16 rounds, okay? The logic of the ball is we did eight rounds increasing, 8 rounds like repeating the sequence, and now we will decrease for 8 rounds. That way we will have the perfect ball, like it's perfect round, like this one here, okay? And what do we do? Remember that in the last round, round number 8, let me see here, the last round of increases, we did 6 single crochets and 1 increase, 6 and increase. What we have to do now is exactly the opposite that we did in this part in the beginning. We will do 6 and decrease, 6 decrease, 6 decrease, and then 5 single crochets and decrease, 5 decrease, and this is how we start decreasing the ball, making the curve. I'm explaining the logics, but don't worry because I will do it with you. I still have to teach you how to do the decrease. So I make the first single crochet, and as always, mark the first stitch of the round. So let's do 6 single crochets. This was already the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The increases, in the increases, we have an increase here. We had 2 single crochets together. Now the decrease is the opposite. We have to transform 2 single crochets into 1. So how do we do that? The technique that we use is the invisible decrease. That means you grab the front loop of the stitch. Remember that this is a V. I taught you in the beginning, the V shape. In this shape, we have the front loop, which is the loop closer to us. I am here, so the loop is closer to me, so it's front. And we have the back loop. That, of course, is the loop in the back. That is closer to the inner part of the amigurumi, okay? So we are always inserting our crochet hook here below the V. This one here is the front and the other is the back, okay? Front loop, back loop. So to make the decreases, we insert the crochet hook only in the front loop of the following stitch and in the front loop of the next stitch again. Ignore the back loops here. There are 2 back loops that we will not work on it. Ignore these loops. So you see that you have 1, 2, 3 loops in the crochet hook. Grab the yarn, pass through both front loops. You have 2 loops in your crochet hook and you yarn over to make the single crochet again. And you see that this way we transformed 2 single crochets into 1. Here inside we can see the loops, but it will be inside the amigurumi and you don't have to worry about them. Let me see if I can show you. Here's the one loop and here's the second loop. We won't work on these things. So let me continue doing with you. So we did 6 single crochets and 1 decrease. Let's do it again together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Decrease. How do we do the decreases? Front loop of the following stitch. You see that the back loop is here. Front loop again. You see the back loop is here. I have 2 front loops in my crochet hook. Pass the yarn through both loops. Now I have 2 loops in my crochet hook. Yarn over and finish the single crochet. This is the sequence that you have to do. Decreases can be a little bit hard to make like to make them perfect actually. But as I said, we don't want perfection right now. We just want to complete our first amigurumi ball. Okay, so make the sequence 6 single crochets and 1 decrease until you reach the stitch marker, and I will come back to continue the next rounds with you. I decided to come back almost at the end because I wanted to do one more decrease with you. So front loop, bring the yarn, and yarn over. And now, since we did 6 single crochets and 1 decrease 6 times, we don't have 48 anymore. We decreased 6 times. So now we have 42 single crochets. Remove the stitch marker, and in the next round, let me do the first single crochet and mark, as always. We will do 5 single crochets and 1 decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and decrease, grabbing the next 2 front loops, pass it, and that's it. So the sequence that you have to do: 5 single crochets, 1 decrease, 5 decrease, until you reach the other side of the stitch marker. Okay, look how beautiful our crochet ball is turning out. I'm really happy with it. So just keep crocheting and I will come back. So I finished the round. I did 5 single crochets and 1 decrease 6 times, and now we have 36 single crochets. You see how cute our ball is? So now we will continue decreasing. Let me make the first single crochet and mark the round, the beginning of the round, as we always do. And we make, so this was the first, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. So this is the sequence that you have to do until the end of the round. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. Just keep doing it until you reach the end of the round, and I will come back to talk to you and finish our bow. But look how amazing it is already. So I finished the round, 4 single crochets and 1 decrease 6 times. We have 30 single crochets. Let's count this one together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Perfect. We have 30 single crochets. Now I have to pause and talk to you about something. In the beginning of the video, I said that this ball will also be the head of our amigurumi, that we will continue to learn new techniques in the future videos. So since this will be the head of my amigurumi, I will already put the safety eyes that I have here. If you just want to practice the ball, forget about the safety eyes, okay? If you just want to practice crocheting the ball and you want to crochet, I don't know, 1-2 balls, that's totally fine. Finish your amigurumi ball with me in a couple of seconds, okay? But if you also want to turn this ball into the amigurumi head, so this is the moment that we'll use the safety eyes. These ones are 10 millimeter size. You see that I have a pair of safety eyes here. And how do I usually count the stitches and the rounds to put the safety eyes? It's very important to learn how to count the rounds, but it's easy, right? We see the perfect line of stitches here. So this is something very easy to do. Place the head like this and you count the rounds from the beginning, okay? So I like to keep the crochet hook in my hands and when I am counting the rounds to put the safety eyes, and you'll understand why, okay? So let's count it together. I have round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I will insert the safety eyes between rounds 12 and 13. I insert the crochet hook like this to create a hole between stitches, because you can see that my stitches are pretty tight. I mean, if you are a beginner and you're just learning with me now, which is a huge pleasure, your stitches are probably not as tight as mine are, and that's totally fine because our goal is to learn here. But as you practice, you'll see that your stitches will be more even and a bit tighter, and this technique can really help to put the safety eyes. So I just insert the crochet hook here and create this gap between stitches, which is exactly the place that I will put the safety eyes. Okay, don't put the, I forgot the name of this. Okay, don't finish your amigurumi yet, okay, with the lockers, washers, I don't remember the word, I'm so sorry for that. But don't put this thing, okay? Just leave the eyes like this for now. And we want the eyes with 8 visible stitches between them, okay? So here is the first one. And why do I say visible stitch? Because you see that I inserted the eye here in one stitch, and this part, let me see if with this one it will be better. So you insert the safety eyes in the amigurumi. This part you insert in a gap between stitches, but this part here, from the pin to the border of the safety eye, it occupies the space of one single crochet. So that's why I'm telling you that we want 8 visible stitches between the eyes. So I will count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 single crochets. I will probably put here like one more, 9, because as I said, when I put the safety eyes, the distance between the pin and the border of the eye will occupy the space of one single crochet. I hope it makes sense for you. I created the hole. Let me see if it's in the same round. Yeah, it's in the same round. You can also count from the start to the round here, to the place that you created the hole. It's okay. And here it is. Exactly as I said, now it will be easier for me to demonstrate and to teach you. You see that we inserted the pin here, the safety eyes here, in this line. And when I put the safety eye here, it occupies the space of one more single crochet. So that's why when it's written in a pattern, or when a person is teaching you in a tutorial and it says visible stitches, is because between the eyes, between both eyes, we have exactly 8 single crochets, and not between the place that you fixed the safety eyes. Okay, so now that they are in exactly the same place, they are even, and it's awful when you put like one here upper than the other. Don't do that. So now we put the thing that I don't remember the word. You can fix it. There are some accessories to put this thing, and I do have a couple of accessories with me. I just don't want to put them in the video to distract you. And here it is. The eyes are safe now, so we can continue decreasing our amigurumi ball. Okay, and we can continue decreasing. You see that it's safe here. Again, if you just want to make a ball, totally fine. Now is the moment that we continue crocheting together. In the last round, we did 4 single crochets and 1 decrease. So now we will make 3 single crochets and 1 decrease. So I make the first one and mark with the stitch marker. Three single crochets and decrease. So just continue making the sequence. 3 single crochets. This is the second, third, and decrease. Just keep doing the sequence, and I will come back to continue the amigurumi ball with you. Okay, so I finished the round. We did 3 single crochets and 1 decrease. So now we start stuffing this amigurumi, and I have lots of polyester here. This is something that we have to do very patiently. I never recommend you take like a huge amount of stuffing like this and try to put that in your amigurumi. It's not good. There are lots of techniques to do it. My biggest recommendation is try to split the polyester like this, make small balls of polyester fiber, and then you put inside the amigurumi. It demands patience, I know, but this is the best technique, okay? There are lots of tips and tricks to stuff the amigurumi correctly. Since it's a ball, we don't have to worry that much with other techniques. This is something that we can learn in the future. But for now, making small balls of stuffing with the polyester fiber is more than enough again, okay? So you just keep stuffing, and we still have more rounds to continue decreasing and close the ball. So I don't recommend to put that much stuffing right now. Otherwise, it will be very hard for you to continue crocheting, because something that we hate is when we insert the crochet hook here and we grab, of course now I exaggerated a little bit so you can understand, but it's awful when you put the crochet hook in a stitch and you pull polyester fiber. The amigurumi can get really messy with that way, so that's why be careful with how much stuffing you put at this point, okay? See that it's not here like right at the top of the amigurumi, top or bottom, it depends on the point of view. So we continue decreasing. And in this round, we will do 2 single crochets and 1 decrease 6 times. So I did the first one, mark with the stitch marker, 2, and decrease. Usually when I'm closing the amigurumi and it's getting like really small here at the finishing part, I like to put my fingers here inside the crochet piece because it helps me, but it's just the way that I do. I mean, you will create your own tips and tricks to do that. That's why I say it's so important to try. It's a matter of experimentation in the beginning too. So 2 single crochets, decrease, 1, 2, decrease. So I'll keep decreasing here, making the sequence, and I will come back in a few minutes. Oh my god, look at this. Yeah, I'm excited. Hope you're as excited as I am. So yeah, guys, I finished the round, 2 single crochets and 1 decrease. So now we will make the penultimate. Yeah, it's the penultimate round. We make 1 single crochet. Oops. Sometimes they are in splits and it's not very good. 1 single crochet and 1 decrease. I have a few tips to make this decrease part a little bit better with less gaps, but I really don't want you to focus on it right now, because the most important thing is to learn how to do the stitches and practice. Practice, practice, and practice. This is the most important thing for you. In future videos, we can practice leaving less gaps between stitches, for example. Oops, I was talking and I lost count, I'm sorry. 1 decrease, 1 decrease, 1, now it's a decrease. I also have to concentrate, you see, because if I speak too much, I can get lost in the sequence. So let's continue making the sequence here, and I'll be back in a few seconds. So I finished the round, and let's count it together. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Remember that 12 was our round number 2, so it's our penultimate round. We're almost at the end of this amigurumi. So now I will remove the stitch marker, and I don't work with the stitch marker in the last round because it usually bothers me a little bit. I will explain it to you. This is, I guess, the last opportunity that you have to continue stuffing because it's a bit empty here. So since the hole is too small, what I like to use is tweezers. This is something that you probably have at home. You don't have to buy a new one. You can use any kind of tweezers that you have. And I like to stuff the amigurumi like this. I wrap the polyester fiber and insert like this. You see? The tweezers are really helpful. This is something that we have at home, and they are really helpful to stuff amigurumis, small amigurumis, and especially complete the stuffing when we are reaching the end of the crochet piece like we are doing right now. And how much stuffing should you put in the amigurumi? This is not a precise number. I cannot tell you like 200 grams or I don't know, 150, I don't know. There is no exact number for this. This is something that you will feel yourself. I mean, you don't want the amigurumi with too much stuffing because it will be bloated, and when the amigurumi is overstuffed, you open the stitches, you know, you start to create gaps between stitches, but you don't want it like empty either. It's very delicate. It's a delicate point that you only get with experience. The first amigurumis that I didn't know how to stuff them properly. A few were empty and others were bloated, but after a while I practiced and I found out which was the best point for me. Of course, there are lots of techniques to do it. As I said before, there is a video here in the channel where I teach how to do it correctly, and I also teach a few techniques. You can watch the video in case you want to learn these techniques and improve. I will make more videos about stuffing. But this is something that you have to feel yourself, like take the ball and, I don't know, squeeze it a little bit. You can also make this to help with the shape, because it doesn't matter how much stuffing you put. If you, and I'm pressing really hard here. Look, it's ugly. If I do this, it's ugly. So it doesn't matter how much stuffing you put. You have to reshape with your hands. And this is something that people usually forget, but come on guys, it's kind of obvious. If you take the pillows from your couch and you do that, you stop pressing them in wrong directions, they will lose shape. That's why when we want to organize our living room, we are always tapping our pillows to make them beautiful again and in the correct shape. So always reshape it with your hands. It seems obvious, but this is a very, very good trick to teach you. Okay, that's it. I think it's good with stuffing. So now we will crochet the last round. And the last round, since we have 12 single crochets and we want to have 6 single crochets, we have to decrease 6 times. And as I said, I don't like to use stitch markers because it's too small. In the last round, it's so small that the stitch marker starts to bother us. So I just try to concentrate and forget the world around me for 1 minute and make these decreases. And say the numbers out loud because it helps, okay? So I will do it with you. 1 decrease. 2nd decrease, 3rd decrease, 4th decrease, 5th decrease. And let me tell you something, because now I have a big secret here. I know I said we started with 6, 12, 18, and so on. And I said we had 12 and we wanted 6. But if I do 6 decreases and have 6 single crochets here, when I finish the amigurumi, there will be like a beak like this. I'm just trying to demonstrate how it would be. And we don't want this. I think it's not beautiful. I hate when the amigurumi has this beak here. I don't want it. So my trick, in order to avoid this thing, is to make 1 last decrease in the end. So if you're supposed to have like 6 decreases, I do 1 less. I do 5. And now if you count, you don't have 6 single crochets. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally fine. We will finish this amigurumi with 7 and not 6. Don't cut a very short piece of thread, but it doesn't need to be that long, like a medium size, like this. And you pull the thread so we can close it. At that point, if you still feel that you need more stuffing, this hole is really, really tiny. You cannot put stuffing with your fingers. In this case, you really need the tweezers. So this is the last moment. But I said last because the only possibility to keep putting stuffing here is with the help of the tweezers. Some people use chopsticks. They are helpful. I won't say that they are not, but I think tweezers are better. And again, there is no right or wrong. It's just a matter of preference. I know some people prefer to use chopsticks. Totally fine. but I like the tweezers. Okay, so I stuffed a little bit more. I have the remaining thread here, and now we will use the tapestry needle in order to close the amigurumi. Here we did the magic ring or magic circle, and now we will do the inverted magic ring or inverted magic circle in order to close the bow. So put the yarn in the tapestry needle, and the technique is very simple. Okay, so this is the following stitch, right? I skip this stitch and insert the tapestry needle only in the front loop of the following stitch. Skip one single crochet, and in the following single crochet, you grab only the front loop and pass the yarn. Do it once more. I still don't want to pull the thread because I want you to see it. This is the following stitch. I skip it, pass the tapestry needle, and now you pull the yarn. You see that we create the beak? This is something that we don't want, and it would be way worse if we had done one more decrease. So what do I do now? Because we don't want this thing here. We want it round. I insert the tapestry needle here in the middle, okay? And you can come out with the tapestry needle and the yarn at any spot in your bowl, like this, and you pull it. You see that when we pull, the amigurumi, the yarn here goes with it. It shrinks a little bit. Observe. And it's flat, okay? Great. It would be safe already, but I like to secure it one more time. Better safe than sorry. So the technique that I use, again, it's very easy. You can grab any loop next to where the yarn came off. For example, this one. You see the V shape here? So you can just take it. You can just pass the tapestry needle here, like this, and tie a knot. Oops, I think my yarn split a little bit. Oh, hate when it happens. Let me do it again. Sorry guys, let's do it again. So I took the loop here, any loop, it could be this one, it could be this one, it doesn't matter, any loop next to where the yarn is, pass the tapestry needle. Since my yarn is split, I have to be very careful. And you pass it in the loop to tie a knot. You see the knot here? It's very tiny. You see the knot? And now again, you pass the tapestry needle close to the knot. You see the knot is here. You pass the tapestry needle very close to the knot. You can leave at any point in your bowl. The knot is here. I want to show you to see what will happen. The knot enters the amigurumi like magic. And that's it. Now you can simply cut this remaining thread very close to the bowl. Nothing will happen. It's safe now. And that's it for this video. I loved recording this tutorial with you. It has been a pleasure to teach you. I hope you had fun crocheting your first amigurumi bowl or your first amigurumi hat. I don't know, but just keep watching the next tutorials here in the channel because you'll learn lots of interesting things, how to make all the embroidery, eyebrows, eyelashes for the amigurumi. We'll learn how to make the muzzle and the ears of the amigurumi, how to sew. There are a couple of techniques to sew the amigurumi parts together. So yeah, just stay here with me because I am pretty sure we will have lots of fun together. And that's it. Isn't it exciting that we have our first amigurumi? Oh my god, yeah, I know how it feels. I still remember when I finished my first amigurumi. I know how excited we've got with that. So congratulations for finishing your first amigurumi ball. I really hope you had fun crocheting with me. And in the next episodes of the Amigurumi Academy, we'll learn how to crochet the ears, the muzzle, embroider the face. Who knows which amigurumi will come out of this first amigurumi ball. Hope to see you in the next videos.